That's the part I wanted to us to look at critically, because we have even done an extensive report. In one of those reports, you were with us in your boots to go see some of the devastation caused some of the communities in the Niger Delta. But the thing here is that when we had that interregnum, that break with the amnesty period, why was this seeming silence from even people like yourself and so many agitators about what has been going on in the region?
I want to believe that you're referring to the period that Goodluck Jonathan was the president. Am I right? I need to be clear that that's what you're referring to.
Well, exactly.
Okay, fine. Now, please let us remember that Goodluck Jonathan, or any president, remains the president of Nigeria and not of North Central, Northeast, or Northwest, or South or Southeast, or whatever. Definitely Nigeria is a turn-by-turn situation, and that has played out every election and every military takeover. And I think that is the major problem that we have in Nigeria. Now, I think that Jonathan, in his way, deviated from that turn by turn. He also admitted that he deviated from that because he did not do for his own people what he should have done. Everybody is saying that, including us. And I do admit, and I do say that it was our fault up to a point. But I also remember that in 2012, a year immediately after Jonathan was elected, that I was in Silverbird, and I said that Nigerians were disappointed in the government, in the PDP government led by Jonathan. And I remember very well, it was headline news, it was in the papers. So when people say that somebody like me was not talking, that's not true. I was talking, and I did talk. But you see, when we got into the situation where Jonathan became the president, everybody expected us to accept that because Jonathan is the president of Nigeria now, that we really didn't have any more reasons to carry on with the agitation. We were wrong there. Now, having said that, the agitation remained even at the time that Jonathan was there. And I repeat, Niger Delta amnesty acceptance was to give Yaradua. I hear this present government tell us in closed-door discussions that they are not Yaradua. Well, they may not be Yaradua, but Yaradua's approach was what gave rise to the 5 years of relative peace that was secured, that brought the output of oil from 700,000 barrels in 2006, 2007, up to the point when 2015. Now, we find ourselves back to square one in Nigeria, where the output of oil has gone drastically low, very, very low, to the point where the British government is recommending dialogue with the Niger Delta Avengers. The American government is recommending the same, and it is a welcome recommendation, and people like me support that recommendation, and also call on the people blowing up the pipeline that they should also hold their peace. Let us see how we can now sit down and discuss the issues. What are the issues? I have mentioned them. Fiscal federalism, the National Conference report, the oil well licenses. They are coming up either this year or next year. There must be a genuine review of those issues. The fact that Niger Delta people, particularly the Ijos, that feel at every step of the way that we are targeted. We may be wrong, but that is our feeling. So let us address these issues. Let us see why a particular people in Nigeria will feel the way that we feel. corruption is a bad thing. Corruption is I mean, the issue of fuel subsidy, which is another story, is a beginning of a terrible corruption that started during Babangida's time, almost 24 years ago. So we really must look at the problems and come up with solutions.
It's a good thing that we're looking at solutions, because no one who's been to the Niger Delta will agree less and say, hey, come on, this must be fixed. But looking at what has happened in times past, perhaps maybe the old way hasn't worked. We have the NDDC, we have a ministry, we have a couple of other intervention moves that the government has put in place in times past. What are those other things you think we're missing out here, apart from the call for the National Conference report, a review of licenses given to people owning oil blocks? How do you think all of this will bring about that development to that region, which is badly needed?
The lack of will to actually govern Nigeria on the basis of equity, justice, and equality, no matter whether you're a people that are 1 million, 7 million, or 70 million. Now, quickly touching on the issues of NDDC, UMPADEC in the past, the Wilkins report, the issue of Ministry of Niger Delta, the issue of amnesty. Quite honestly, as a Niger Delta person, I would rather all of those things were not on the table and we have resource ownership on the table. That is what I would rather prefer, because I am convinced, and I have been around from the days of the Wilkins report to today. Every intervention agency that has put there is just that. It is an intervention agency. And whoever is in place at that time has always made sure that those agencies are moribund right from the beginning. They are not meant to work. I actually describe them as organizations or commissions that are put up to deceive the Niger Delta people. And why we continue to allow ourselves to be deceived is beyond my imagination. I don't see why you should set up a Ministry of Niger Delta and have it in Abuja. I don't see why you should set up an NDDC and then the monies that is going to come to sustain the NDDC is coming from the Niger Delta, and yet it has to go to a group of people who will blackmail the commission to secure those contracts for themselves. Look, if we go into the books of the NDDC, for instance, and the books of the Ministry of Niger Delta, for instance, and we look at the companies that have secured contracts in NDDC, you will be amazed, you will be flabbergasted, you will be shocked to see that serving members in the National Assembly would be involved in those jobs. I mean, that has to be fraudulent. Right down fraudulent. But that is what happens. People who want a job in NDDC will come to Abuja, collect a note from Abuja, or go to one traditional ruler outside of Niger Delta and go to one politician and secure a note, bring it back to NDDC. Even before their allocation is approved, the committee that is going to approve the allocation have already looked in the budget and has secured for themselves the jobs that they will do. You know, so when that is the way the NDDC is run, I think that it is double standards to now say to the Niger Delta people that we are not holding our people accountable. Who are the people that we're going to hold accountable? We're holding the federal government and the state governments accountable, and yet in the Constitution, on one hand, the Constitution accepts that it is wrong to be fraudulent, it is wrong to steal from the money that is put in your hands to develop your people and your state, and yet within that same Constitution, you have a section that tells you that somebody has immunity for 4 years or 8 years as long as he's in government. So how do you hold anybody accountable? You now hold the poor fisherman to go and hold who accountable? No, it's the responsibility of government to find a way that works for us.